This is number 9 of Debunking Democrats' Lies, one at a time. And it's this one's about them calling Trump a fascist and a dictator. And this will be a short one, I think. Not just because I don't remember the whole definition of the word fascism, but dictator, basically, when they refer to him being a dictator, they're talking about a fascist type of dictator, because a fascist type of dictator is, you got right wing and left wing. The Democrats are left wing, the Republicans are right wing. And so, but a right wing extremist, by definition, which really doesn't fit, because the right wing is one nation under God. So you don't have, it's hard to become an extremist in the right wing, believe it or not. It's harder to have many extremists. We don't have as many extremists as the radical liberals who hate God. It's easier to have more extremists with people who hate God. People who believe in God have reasons they have a conscience not to be an extremist. All right, they do. And in general, even the ones that are extreme because they're what you call Pharisees biblically. So I am explaining fascism here, kind of why it's not, doesn't make a lot of sense. But people who are what the Bible calls Pharisees, people who say they believe in God, but they really believe in their own perfection. They're perfectionists and they believe they're better than everybody else and all that kind of stuff. And not everybody else, but they have certain rules they follow. Really, what a Pharisee does is follow certain rules, and it might be economic rules, money. They might not say a curse word ever, and they lived up to it, and they judge everybody else that does. But they don't really believe in God. They believe in themselves. But they're still going to have a hard time going to an extreme, because they've got those rules that tell them not to go extreme. So, and they're sticking to the rules. They stick to all the rules, the basic rules, but they don't have the love of that spirit of love. They don't have that forgiveness, the mercy and grace. It's so much. So it's hard to have an extremist fascist in that sense. On the right side, but on the left side, people who hate God, and then they hate anybody that gets in, they become greedy and hate anybody that gets in their way, and they have their own ideals, and it's got to be their way, this way or that way. And a lot of them, everybody has different ideals. It's easy to have extremists in the left side. So dictatorship, though, here's the main point I want to make, and this is a simple point. But the Democrat Party wants to be a dictator. That's what they want the one world order for, the new world order. It's not that Republicans, we're for freedom. Trump is for freedom. He's for lowering your taxes so you can be more free. He's for protecting your private property rights so you can be more free and make your own decisions. And he wants the government to do the basic, simple job of protecting our safety and keeping imposters out that hate America and hate freedom and want dictatorship. The reason we want to keep the border sealed is so dictators from other countries can't send in people to try to tear our country up from the inside, because there are lots of countries that have real dictatorships. And so that's the job of the government here, is to protect our country and our land, protect our citizens, protect our freedom. So it's not a small deal that Trump wants to protect our freedom. It's because he's not a dictator that he wants to protect our freedom, our rights. He wants our God-given rights from God, not our rights to try to evolve everybody to some unrealistic way of living that is slowly killing ourselves. The Democrats are doing those kind of things. So, here's to the main point of that main point about him. Where do they come up with calling him a dictator? And they could run with it, and they ran with it. And that's the first you've ever heard that, really, almost, from being able to accuse a Republican of being a dictator and get away with it, because they've never even tried that one before, I don't think. With Bush or anybody else. But because Trump he joked and said, yes, the first day in office, I don't know what he said, the exact words, but he said for the first day in office, he gets to do a lot. And you're allowed to do a certain number of executive orders. He's allowed to change some of the border laws the first day in office without going through Congress. And then after that, after he does those things he's allowed to do, and he's going to do them as fast as he can, it's going to be like in one day, for one day. Then he goes back to being the regular. And so they took and ran with that and pretend he wants to be a dictator. It's not. He has a right to do those executive orders.